Hello and welcome back to the channel. This is Beautiful Ashes, and I'm your host Tom, and I'm super excited to have you guys back with us. And so today I just want to share something that I found really useful, especially when you're starting a new journey in whatever endeavors you try. You decide to push yourself into. And the biggest lesson that I've learned so far is, especially in my journey these 7 years working online and trying so many things, is the value of the mindset of being able to figure things out. And that is what I like to call, most people actually call figure out ability. You figure it out ability. So you just call it for short, like figure out ability. And to truly kind of drive this point home, I just want to give you an example of the Rubik's Cube. I don't know if it's called Rubik's or Rubik's Cubes or whatever. It's a cube that has different colors. You've got blue, red, yellow, white, green, black, or something like that. And the goal here is to actually get them to match. So one side to have one color on every side. And so I remember the first time I came across this cube as I was in high school. I was at my auntie's place, and we just didn't have anything to do, and they just saw it lying around, and they had it for a while there, but it was my first time seeing it. Don't judge me, but it was my first time seeing it. And so I tried messing around with it, and I was just trying. So I was explaining how it works. I'm supposed to actually just turn the sides until it actually matches the color. And so what happened is I sat there with that thing before I even got one side correct. I sat there for 2 days, for 48 hours. I did nothing else. I didn't watch telly. I didn't watch television. I didn't, the phones were quite good at the time. So I can't say I was like on Facebook or something like that. And I was in high school still. Yeah, I could access Facebook, but we used to have the cursor, and you have to just kind of move to the far left, just pretty much like how you use a laptop today. And so I didn't have anything else to do, so I sat down with it. I was on holiday. I think I was in my third year in high school, Form 3. That's what we call it here. I don't know what you call it where you're from. And so I sat down with it for about 48 hours, trying to figure out how to actually solve the puzzle. And this is the thing about me. I love solving puzzles. And so one of the things that can actually get me pretty stuck in my head is actually the ability, is actually being sucked into a puzzle. And so I try to avoid that as much as possible because I always try to figure it out. And it just reminded me of another time that actually this comes out. But anyway, so I realized I started with it the first day. I tried to make it go round, 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 but I actually couldn't get even one side or one color. And that was it after 24 hours. But I did not give up. I continued to do it, and I didn't have any particular strategy. I see these days on online or on YouTube videos or on Facebook or on social media whereby people just solve a Rubik's Cube in like a few seconds or a few minutes, and that just actually blows my mind away because I didn't have that at that time. I didn't have a manual, didn't have a guide, no one taught me, and so what I pretty much did, I did like the 10,000 tries, the 10,000 Edinburgh trial test, whereby you get 9,999 bulbs wrong, and then so you can actually get to the one that is right. And so that's actually the kind of the procedure or the test that I took, whereby I just did random turns left, right, and center, up and down, left, whichever way that I thought could possible. So I just pretty much did it randomly, and I just trusted my brain to actually pick up a pattern and actually come up and actually being able to feel one side. And so it took me a whole lot longer. It took me about 48 hours to actually get one side right. Now, I know maybe most of you are smarter. I'm sure there are actually guys who are smarter or have a higher IQ. But here's the thing. It's not about the IQ. It's about, I tried it at least 10,000 times, I think, in those 48 hours, whereby, of course, there's time for sleep and whatnot, but I would sleep and, I would eat and go to the toilet and whatnot. But other than that, I was just stuck on that cube. And I was actually just trying to figure out how am I actually going to solve this thing. And I sat with it for 48 hours or for 2 days before I actually got one side filled. And the only way that I was able to do that was actually by eliminating, like the many different ways not to actually fill one side. And so when I ended up doing it, is like I actually found the right way to fill one side. But even then, I actually didn't remember the process. I couldn't actually say like I come up with a formula or whatnot. So what I did was pretty much trial and error. And so I would fail so many times. And this just goes back to the previous episode about launch quickly and fail fast. So I would fail so many times before I actually got the first time right. And when I did, it wasn't too long after when the second time that I did it, it became faster. And funny enough, after the third day, actually, I was able to actually do two sides of the squares or two sides of the cube. And so the whole idea here is I'm trying to brag to you how good I am at solving the Rubik's Cube. But one thing that I learned here is being able to stay with something long enough until you can actually figure it out. Because here's the thing. The fun part wasn't actually being able to figure it out. The fun part was actually the process of actually doing it. And actually had my mind so engaged from that time. And I remember when I actually got it right, I was so excited and I would show everybody, hey, look, 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 look. I actually managed to do it right. And so the goal here is of a mentality of being able to figure things out by yourself sometimes. And if you have help, great. But if you don't, sometimes you just have to stick with it long enough until you can actually get it right. And so what I'm trying to say here is adopt a figure out ability or a figuring out mentality. That becomes a superpower. That becomes an ability that you can actually apply in different areas of your life. And so adopt a figure out. So what you want really, or the goal of this episode is actually just develop a figure out ability kind of ability or figure out ability kind of mentality when it comes to approaching some of the problems you're going to face in entrepreneurship, or even in life in general. And so just stick with things long enough to actually figure them out. And so that's it for this episode. I know it's not a bit different. Anyway, it's a bit late in the night that I'm actually recording this, not my usual time, but I just said I had some time to kill, and so why not do an episode? And so that's it for this episode. I'd love to hear you guys. I'd love to hear your thoughts and opinions, and in the comment section below. And be sure to hit the like, share, and subscribe button. As always, this is your host Tom, and see you in the next one. Bye.